Happy New Year, dear friends. My name is Jaka Škapin. I'm in Slovenia right now, and welcome to the first In Conversation Instagram Live of 2025. So, from now on, these will happen every 2 weeks. Every time there's going to be someone interviewing a member from our community about an exciting project that they have going on. So, to kick off the year, we have something very special prepared. One of my really dear friends from France and Reunion Island, Lynn, who's going to join us very briefly to talk about the Circlesong Film. Okay, big, massive. Got it. Dum, 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 dum. Dum, 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 dum. Dum, 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 dum. Dum. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Yaka.
So nice to see you.
Yes, it is.
How are you? How is your beginning of 2025?
Well, I'm good. I'm happy to have managed to set up Instagram for for
Yes.
live.
Is it your first live?
Yes, it is.
Well, welcome to the experience.
Oh. And well, this year I started very quietly, which is very welcome,
Hmm.
and a 2-day workshops for in like initiation circle songs, and
Brilliant.
it's been a
Yeah.
lovely,
I saw your
lovely.
programming all announced for the first half of 2025. Looks very exciting. A number of workshops that people can take, right? So hopefully you can also tell us about any websites that people should go to. But of course, they can find you more so specifically on Instagram and Facebook at Lintafuma. Today, we are here to talk about this massive, gigantic project called Circlesong, A Deep Journey in Music. And I don't really know where to start. And I don't even know how you're doing within it. I've heard things, I've supported the fundraiser. I know it's been already a number of years that you're working on it. You were already shooting on multiple continents, starting in Brazil, also in France, Champotus, Enchanted Circle, going to Reunion Island. So there's much to discuss there. I just want to first ask you how you're doing with this project, how you think things are going when we start 2025.
This project is like a university of life. So I guess the first thing it's about uh, being patient and perseverant, because it takes a lot of time, and I didn't have a clue about how big was the project before actually stepped in, before I stepped in. So right now, this is the writing part. We've been
Mhm.
shooting, following, uh, we're basically following the path I've already done. These are places where I've been already, whether it's in Brazil or in Circle in France or Réunion Island. And so we shooted all that, and then we thought, okay, then we will write after, like that we can start from the material. And now, I mean, for a year, we have like hundreds of hours of of shooting, and we definitely need the story about the documentary, and this is a huge part, which is kind of struggling, is how do you make it a story and not just uh, like information about what is going on, which is nice, but this is a documentary, and in the documentary, alongside the documentary, it's like a narrative, now storytelling, that this is the writing part. So
From
this is
now,
where
what would you want the film to say? I'm sure it's not a finalized idea, but where you stand in this part of the process in the writing, what would you want the film to express for you?
I think it's to express what started as a individual personal experience, uh, appears to be uh, like a collective. I'll have the word universal, but this is something much bigger than how it started uh, to me as Lynn. Or said it other in another way is that this is the kind of practices that's been life changing for me. And the more I go, the more I see how I am not alone and unique in this experience, and what I've been through, actually, a lot of people are going through. So basically, it's just to tell the story through my own story and show how it touches many people and how it also touches people that don't know yet about
Mm.
about this, because there are some, yeah, it's like another word is possible, and we actually are, it's already there, actually.
Mm. And going to your story then, in your bio you say that you discovered Bobby McFerrin, for instance, at the same time as that Mama and other kind of big projects, maybe when you were around 20. So I'm kind of interested, maybe not to try and summarize, but to explain why do you think then it led you to now mostly doing improvisation? I know you're doing a lot of songwriting work, performance work, written material. What was this, journey like that led you to now doing mostly, I would say, improvised work, circle singing, facilitation? How did that happen for you?
I feel like they've been together for as far as I remember, improvising and writing. And but the focus changed.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I mean, I've used improv. When you create song, you start by improvising. I mean, the first ideas, or whether when when you do anything creative, when you think about something, you are just you're composing with what you've got at the moment. And improvisation for me is kind of like that. Like I started to write a song, and to do that, I was started with some tun teto cedo de balea, cedo de balea, cedo de ba. Okay, I like this one, so let's see how we can develop. So this is kind of same process than improvisation, no? I mean, this is how I see it.
Yes, yes, it can be. I mean, you're a very, I would say, embodied songwriter, and I'm sure it has to do with your cultural background, where you're from, the Reunion Island, because I would say that some people might take a more, rational route, but whenever I experienced you in person, you improvise with your whole body, and you also improvise with your whole, I don't know, cultural background, ancestry. You tell me if that's correct, but that's what, reaches me as a listener or as a chorister in your choir.
Well, I mean, I do believe that we sing, I would say, from where we are, and that we actually sing what we are. This is how I see things. So, yeah, I guess my cultural background, also the lot of the music I've been listening as a teenager and young adult, it was a lot about Pan-African music and like modern Pan-African music. So that goes from Cameroon, Makossa in Cameroon, and Jamaican reggae, and Afro-American soul music, but also French songwriting, uh, music. There's a long songwriting tradition here that I really like. I like words. So I guess, yeah, it all comes into a cocktail. And ta-da!
And there you go. Magic. And
Yeah, depending on the environment, there's
Mhm.
more or this side or this one that show up, that
And
shows up.
now that you've been traveling on different continents, observing and filming and leading circle songs, how would you define any of the differences? What is for you changes if you're doing it in France or if you're doing it in on Reunion Island or Brazil? Is the process similar? What changes? How much the environment has to do with the music that is being created?
So if the focus is it's about what are the what changed. Uh, I would say tradition, like mindset and cultural background. This is the thing that I quite like. I find it, well, this is not a, it's not a secret, but I really experience Brazil like direct connection to music that goes more through body uh, than, with no surprise, if you do it in West, especially Western Europe. Uh, we do have a mental orientated way of doing music. Doesn't mean that there's no body, etc. But just like if we, put kind of caricatural, but there's some truth in it. And then if you're going La Réunion, something very interesting over there is that La Réunion's got the specificities of all the cultures that you find over there, people coming from Africa, from Europe, from Southeast South Southeast Asia, from India, North and both South India. So all of this, you can find the flavor in the kitchen. When you see the meals over there, you can feel all the different uh, cultural backgrounds. And so for me, they did the same with Circlesong. Like they just put it in their in their meal, where there's also Maloya, where there's also another way of relating to music generally. Like music is, you have much more music outside specific places. Like in Europe, if you want, most of the time, if you want to do music, then you're going to a concert, you're going to a workshop, you're going to a space and time that has been set up for this. And what I found a lot into La Réunion Island and in Brazil, especially in Bahia, uh, it was that music were most of all between all those moments. So that's impact a lot the way of doing circus songs.
Hmm.
I
So
found it.
going a little bit deeper into these ideas behind embodiment and different approaches to improvisation, I find that it's much harder to impose, a rational mindset, of course, in improvisation of setting up an idea and studying something and then wanting to implement it versus, starting from the body. But I guess I'm interested in then who can draw out all of those influences, let's say at the La Reunion Island. How does that work? Is it based on lived experience, someone that has lived there? How do you engage with all of those cultures to be able to use the spices for you? How are those accessed? How should the spices of the music be accessed?
Uh, well, the thing is that I grew up in the Reunion kitchen.
Yes. So it was your kitchen.
It was a lot. Yeah, yeah. It fed me literally. He told me to go to bed literally in Creole. So uh, this is more for me. The process has been I've been living a lot of things in music, and with time, and also because of context, like pedagogical context, I had to at some point explain them, so
Hmm.
explicit them even for me. And this is where I started to okay, so if I translate if I translate that to actually communicate with someone who doesn't know about it or doesn't feel about it or whatever, then okay, and this is how I started to like I put a step on the side to have a bigger picture and try to understand the more the systemic what was the system around that, around my own like at a level, at the individual level, and also at okay, what is the culture, what is the music, does it come from my family only? And oh no, okay, this is cultural. This is in the old place. And do all musicians, for example, how do they, for the Maloya, why the Maloya and the Circle songs, they met that fast in La
Hmm.
Réunion specifically, more than in my own city where I've been doing that for way longer. Over there, it's like, well. It's partly because people actually appropriate the tool, and also it was in resonance with many things in Maloya, the traditional music over there. Like they have circles that they call orong, which means literally circle in Creole. They have these things of call and response, and traditionally, the one who was doing the calling was also improvising depending on what was happening, or telling a story about all times. And then people respond. So you have also the organic part, like it was organic part, only acoustic instruments and vocals and body, and you have movement with the Maloya. It's also a dance, and you have tradition, rituals. Actually, it's all that. It's a whole package. It's all cultural package. So yeah, I guess that's when circle songs arrived in La Réunion and they met. It was like, oh,
I'm
hi cousin.
Hi, cousin.
Yeah,
Hi, brother. Hi, sister.
kind of.
Yeah. So that's the ancient root of it all, really. And I think that's also one of the things you emphasize in the description of the film, that that is something that you want to, investigate and put into perspective. Where does it comes from, as a practice, and where is it just remembering of something that we've done, in our pasts, and maybe something that does not exist as much in Western culture, but it does elsewhere.
Yeah, and this is also the interesting part about filming here in Europe. I mean, I've been filming. We've been filming because
Okay,
AK has been
shout
filming
out to
us.
AK, 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 if he's
Yeah,
listening.
yeah. We did the shooting in Brazil and in France with him. He did also some in Belgium and Switzerland, and I did some in La Réunion Island and in the United States. I was the last shooting in autumn. And so what was the question again?
I, to be honest, it was I forgot to. I was just very much in
Yeah,
this mood.
got it.
You got it.
What?
Okay,
Yeah.
please tell us.
What is interesting about Western culture and like filming in France is that there is this this sense of collectiveness, I would say, and the term community is not that easy to use here because it has this pejorative connotation with sects, sect, sect. Yeah, I don't know how to use that. This
Sect. Yes, yes, as a code or a sect.
yeah,
Do you mean? Yeah.
yeah. So it's quite related to that in collective unconscious.
Hmm.
Uh, but in Brazil, they use comunidade, all day long. Same in United States, community is a very used word, but here it's not. And still, there is this wish of creating collective spaces and etc. And I've been thinking, is it because of, you know, like ancestral wisdoms are kind of far of daily life, and also we have this individual like highway where we are caught up sometimes. It's not bad in itself from my perspective, but it's just some characteristic that made here people in circle songs, they want to train to circle
Hmm.
songs, they want to develop high level, high skills, harmonizing stuff and etc.
Well, that would be
What?
perfect France also because of the Enlightenment, right? And this very conscious project of separating esoteric knowledge from society and putting it to the side and prioritizing, rational knowledge and science as it was framed by, yeah, the thinkers of that era. So it must be still felt in France, especially. So there's this little tension, but I think so far I've seen you also use it to your advantage, and for instance, not that it's exactly related, but to do a workshop with Nico. and then to really combine something very technical and something very ancestral embodied, which is also a beautiful way then of merging and combining spaces and allowing people to, just swing from one to the other, which I think is also necessary for many people to be fully in and present
Yeah.
and part of the experience.
Yeah, and I guess I'm still on that that learning, but to stop
Mm-hmm.
separate structure from embodiment, from living experiences, from theory. Uh, like it's okay, and the same thing that I feel it's a characteristic here in France of you know like to understand and to put labels on things. Well, because of that, it's also it gives a clear map of what is going on. It gives some cues. Okay, I can go that way and go stay there for a while, and then later on I can go over there. It helps to structure big events like the Cercle Enchanté or big movement like Chant pour tous. So yeah, like during filming, it's interesting to see like cultural patterns, how they challenge people, and how they also support people at the same time. Like they all have, it's not all black and white, of course.
Mm. And going back to the film, we have to talk about your last trip to Berkeley, where you met Bobby and your last filming, right? Tell us about that and how that was.
That, I called it the pirate mission because I decided finally to go over there any without being sure that I will be able to see Bobby and to interview him. I've been trying many times before, and it was kind of a struggle to make it happen, but it didn't happen. And for some reason, in last August, I heard the call. I heard the go now, and some people like close close collaborators, Bobby close collaborators,
Mm.
was talking with them, and they were like, "You have to go." I mean, if you feel it, just go for it. So this is what I did, and I did it by myself. Well, because we are like under low budget.
Hmm.
So, and just took the camera and say, okay, let's go, pirate mission. We'll see. Friend of mine helped me on this, and so we arrive at Fright and Salvage, and they started to sing. So it was Bobby and Motion. I mean, three of them, three on the floor. And I saw him just some seconds before, and then I saw him on stage, and I just thought, okay, just for this, the whole trip worth it. That was so powerful to hear once again and to feel once again why this man has touched me so much for so many years, and me amongst like millions of people, and to feel it again. So, and it was okay to record the the concert, so I did that, and I've been invited to sing on stage, and Bobby was on a break when that happened,
Hmm.
and when I just finished, I turned back, and he was going out of the backstage. Well, this is a very personal thing, that, but I was so happy because we just were like face to face, like, oh, okay, oh, wow, thank you. And he closed. And then later on, he said, I heard that. I
Mm.
think it was pretty good. And I
Yeah.
find that when at the rush, when I was watching the videos after, and so, yeah, and on stage they had a session of Q&R and Q&A
Hmm.
moment, and I was allowed to 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 record that. So I managed to ask two questions.
Okay, what did you ask?
I asked, how would you describe circle singing to people who don't know about it? And what is your definition? Uh, and the second question is that was how do you see or what would you wish for circle songs to the next
Mm.
generations come?
And what was the answer to this last one? Or we have to wait for the film to be released?
Yeah, I need to tease you guys because it takes so long, you know.
I
I need to
understand.
tease you upon years to
I
make.
understand, yes. We'll be there till the end, supporting you.
Yeah.
I guess, then there's this question of so many people are inspired by Bobby, millions around the world, but there aren't actually that many in the end that dedicate their lives to vocal improvisation. So how
Mm.
does that happen? How did that happen for you? And even within this film, gigantic project, not much institutional support. What is the core belief, motivation that it's still there and that you keep close to heart that just keeps you going?
Hi, Nadia. I've read that question somewhere. And well, I guess that when there's vibration, this is the north of on my compass. The north
Mhm.
is the vibration. Is I mean the vibes. It's just that I feel it and I feel like it needs to be done. And on the process, I I have many times, not all the time, joy. I meet people. I manage to travel. I do some accountancy. I do some advertising. Sometimes I wash dishes, and life.
Mhm.
But the thing is that, like with this documentary, the first the trigger was just I said it already. Like I was standing in the middle of Omega Park in the park and it was that kind of day that happened in retreat that I was just crying and laughing, and it was raining, sun, and snow at the same time. And for many people, were they three or four, it felt so good, so good. And I was like, people need to know about that. They need to know that it exists, that another world is possible, and that's the proof. And yeah, this is just moment, but this is how it starts with
Mhm.
moments. So, okay, how to make people know? Documentary. Of course, we need to do a documentary. Okay, I'm doing a documentary. And so this face, it's still here. Even though sometimes I'm like, oh my God, what the hell? Why? But it feels so right to do it.
And it still does.
Uh, huh?
And it still does. The intensity of human experience, of connection, the peak experiences that we are a part of when we improvise together, I think they are the driving force. And for most people, when they experience it, they are drawn back to it. Sometimes it's not possible to keep returning. It still takes a lot of dedication to keep returning, but usually once you have had one such moment, you do keep returning to it or want to return to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something that it make me think about some sharing I had with Gaël Aubry.
Mhm.
The I think for me he was sharing that we actually we fall in love with vocal improv and circle singing because we had at some point this one experience that like tears was so beautiful. The experience itself is so beautiful that you want more of it. So that's why you're returning. So, and it can be in a musical way, like the music is so beautiful that you want to do some more music like this, at least try. And sometimes both, sometimes one or another, the human experience is so strong that you want to live that again. So when you
Mhm.
have both, you addict.
The It's true.
Perfect.
The endorphins, whatever is happening in the body, in the chemistry is working extremely hard. Um, so to finish off the conversation, how can people support you from here onwards? What does the project need? If you want to send out any wishes, and maybe someone's going to come back to you, or just metaphorical ideas or very practical things for people that are hearing this, where can they go? How can they support the completion of the film?
Well, I guess uh, short term, short term, I mean, uh, I really need some help, like a mentor or something, some supervision about the writing itself, about how to make it a story. I mean, I've wrote many, many things already. I do have the story in my head, actually, but my head is not on the paper. So,
Mm.
and so that would be something very specific. Another thing that we're gonna need is gonna be some funds, like money for all the editing part, and also because once the scenario will be set up, uh, then the edition will be, part following the scenario,
Mhm.
which will be helpful to have found, and part what we have with the shooting we have. We've already done some, uh, watching thing, choosing part. I mean, just the time coding, many, many hours of time coding. But yeah, so then we're gonna be some money basically to be able to pay AK for the following steps. Uh, well, this is the two concrete needs.
Yes. And concretely, is there a completion timeline, month, year, date, special
Well, it
date,
used to,
deadline?
it it used to have one, and when it appeared that it was so much stress
Hmm. The deadline
to have,
itself.
yeah, the deadline itself, knowing that you had a deadline, so a ritual planning and la la la, and see that, oh, it doesn't go the way, because I can't be full time on this project with its hard project, but definitely I haven't earned anything. I don't plan. It will be welcome, but this is not the plan. But it does cost, and I have a full time life also, so I can't be there all the time. So that's why I took the deadline off, knowing that that will be done. See, back to the beginning,
Hmm.
patience and
It
perseverance
will be done. It will be.
and resilience and yeah.
Okay, so sending out, the wishes to anyone that can help with the script, to any funders who have experienced circle singing in its truest, most beautiful form, go to Lynn and support the project. And also, yeah, I think people can subscribe to your newsletter and to newsletter of the film and get updates and support along the way in case you need, volunteers and all the rest. So my last concluding thought would be, would you share any of your favorite moments from the filming so far? So if I would have to, ask you about the most magical, not even necessarily music related, that have happened during the filming, or something that someone has said that you can share, what comes to mind now?
Phew, 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 phew. Luckily, there's many, and there's one. We were in Brazil with AK and Mauricio Provieri, the
Hmm.
body practitioner, and we were the three of us, and we shared a Airbnb, and that was so funny. That was we were just crying all night because laughing, and it was just after the Circular retreat that we have filmed. Uh, yeah, so this one, and also having the opportunity to hear, listen, and talk to Bobby. It was like it realigned things to me.
Hmm.
Like, okay, phew. I have many.
Okay,
I
so
can't
for the
pick one.
rest, we await the film. And we need to, and one more for today, for us, for me,
One more what?
one more moment.
One more moment. Uh, the Yuko Vocal Improv Festival. That was a highlight moment. That was a very highlight moment. And
Why?
well, because I was just a participant with with a lot of friends that I love to sing with, and where we had the opportunity to just, connect and sing, and that was so beautiful. And the whole place over there, and also the meeting of these people who are really, working in their own communities to make things happen in vocal improv. So people, like colleagues and friends from Italy, from France, and to meet you guys in UK, and even in UK, you are all from many
Hmm.
different places in the world. So, to actually talk with the filming team that was over there. Now there was this whole year, 2023 was very rich. There was the Brazil, there was Enchanted Circle with Música do Círculo here, and then you were here also for one of these retreats with UK, with Kate and Oren. And after that, there was the UK Vocal Improv Festival. And yeah, give this feeling that the practice is very alive. It's still
Hmm.
confidential for so
Hmm.
far, but because of that, we also know one another, it's easy to reach to each other. And this is beautiful to experience and to see it, it's blooming.
Hmm. Lean, thank you so much for your sharing, for your work, for your dedication, for keeping this project close to your heart. I know it's gonna be a beautiful film. You know, me, everyone at the world, the whole global community, I think we're all fully behind it and hope we can support it in any way we can. And we can't wait to see it. And we wish you all the best on all of your musical adventures. Till then.
Thank you very much, Bianca. It was a pleasure.
And see you in person very soon for some singing
See,
runs.
bye,
Yeah.
bye,
Yes. See you
Bianca.
soon.
Bye, friend.